As they often do, the Burtons are having dinner at their place with Jerry and Annie.
You guys really have the life. This is really nice. No cares, no worries.
Here you go, honey.
Thank you.
Easy meals?
Yeah, the only thing missing is the patter of little feet.
And one of these days.
That too.
Well, I wouldn't rush into anything. Owning a dog is a lot of responsibility.
Don't ever change, Jerry. Obviously, they're talking about children. Annie seems very interested in the subject.
You may be wondering why I brought up the subject of children.
No.
You may be wondering. Well, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And the result of a lot of thinking and planning and considering is
Would you pass the ketchup, please?
I'm going to have a baby.
Okay, everybody, Jerry not included, unpanic. She's not pregnant. She wants to find an ideal man and make a baby, but not necessarily have him help raise it. John has a problem with the idea.
But you're not married.
Annie's view about that is, so what? Single mothers have existed for as long as guys have been self-centered creeps about their ding-dongs, so basically ever since we crawled out of the primordial ooze.
Look, I love children, and I'm self-supporting, and I'm competent, and I think I'd make a good mother.
She wants to have a baby.
It's possible for a single person to adopt.
I know, I thought about that a lot, and maybe it's selfish, but, you know, I really want to have the whole experience.
She's decided she wants to have a baby. Well, decades of scientific research have finally told us what causes those things, so her first hurdle is down.
Annie, I think you're terrific. I mean, I've been sitting here listening to all of this, and it's surprising. I mean, you know, it's a different idea and everything. But I can't think of anyone who's more suited to have a child. Really, I mean, you're mature and you're kind and you adore children.
But she's not married.
But look, there are so many married people who just go around having kids because everybody else does. But I'm one who really wants one.
She's not wrong. I know people who had kids because they felt it was expected of them, even though they weren't all that keen on the idea. If it's not something you really want to do and you do it anyway, you didn't make that decision. Somebody else told you what to decide. When it comes to a 20-plus year commitment, that's not the best way to go. I've also known plenty of single moms who were the best parents in the world and raised some of the happiest kids you'll ever meet. John is hung up on the marriage thing, but by 1977, the sexual revolution had redefined a lot of things, including the necessity of having a formal marriage before you thought about kids. Moving in together was becoming a common practice, and easy access to birth control meant people could actually plan when or if they wanted to have kids. Ultra-conservative stuffed shirts, pardon me, like John, had a lot of trouble realizing that their world was changing. Actual commitment became more important than a ceremony and a piece of parchment. Today, at least in most places, people can marry whomever they choose, or they can choose not to. When true commitment is there, let me put it this way. My wife and I divorced in 2011 and remarried in 2012. But between that time, we had a lot of fun playing Your Place or Mine and asking people, okay, sex outside of marriage is known as fornication. Is it still fornication if it's your ex-spouse? I could fill a coffee table book with images of the looks we got. Annie isn't interested in playing Susie Homemaker, but she does want a child.
The only question is to pick the father.
That's the only question?
Don't look at me. I haven't mastered the trumpet yet.
The trumpet. How does he think? Okay, that's an image I do not want to conjure up.
Hi. What are you up to?
Well, I was just in the neighborhood, and I thought I'd drop by and we could have this little chat.
Craig. That was it.
Well, Ann, I got a lot of respect for you. I think you're a terrific person. And I know when John and Sally were there last night, you couldn't really ask.
No, Jerry, she doesn't want you to father her child. Pardon the bluntness, but she wants someone with more than 5 functioning brain cells. You're a great guy and super sweet to offer, but keep it put away.
It's just, it's a certain, like a scientific combination that I'm looking for, nothing personal.
A father doesn't get personal with a mother?
Certainly, it's just that, you know, in general, you don't fit those requirements. But thank you very much, Jerry. I really appreciate the thought.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that any kid that I'll have will be able to do.
What's that?
Take rejection.
You can't blame Jerry for offering. He is a healthy American male, and she's smart, nice, and gorgeous. Zora Lampert started acting in 1954 and was a familiar presence until she retired in 1999. 10 years later, she came back to do 3 movies and then retired for real. As far as I know, today she and her husband are enjoying life. More power to them.
I am meeting this guy for lunch.
Fantastic. What's he like?
Well, I know one girl thinks he's perfection.
Yeah?
It's John. He wants to have a little chat.
Well, go easy on him. He's really not too sure about the idea yet.
But he's not prepared for what she's going to tell him.
Forget everything else I've said. Just take the matter of choosing a father.
With a little help from science, medical, psychological, statistical reports, I know exactly what I want.
You do?
She knows right down to the fine details.
He should be refined, healthy, about 6 feet tall or so, 165 pounds, blue eyes preferably, probably in some profession, say lawyer, and very few cavities.
You wouldn't get an old friend, would you?
Yes and no. You are what I have in mind.
Not John specifically, but someone just like him. At the same time, were he not already taken by her best friend, she'd be all over him. I don't think anybody can blame her. It's too bad 1977 didn't have the technology for him to clone himself.
Couldn't change her mind, huh?
No. But at least she seems to be going about this thing with a great deal of common sense.
You're not so opposed to the idea since she's showing so much common sense.
Yeah. And approaching it scientifically.
Scientifically. The fact that you turn out to be her abstract ideal didn't influence you.
Why, shucks, no. What would make her think a thing like that, aside from the fact that he's thinking it? She's upset because the idea is intriguing at the very least. He finds Annie attractive, who wouldn't, and the notion is tickling the back of his brain whether he wants it to or not. This is a thing that happens to guys, and I get why it's a little hard for gals to understand. It goes back to something I talked about early in the series, admire versus desire. I admire both Sally and Annie. They're both beautiful and seem like great people. I'd love to have lunch with them sometime, but not dessert. All my desire there goes in one direction and only one. Thing is, I've had 40 plus years of mental exercise and discipline, so it's easy for me. John hasn't had that chance yet, so his mind is still going to wander sometimes, even when he doesn't consciously realize it. Sally doesn't get that. This early in their marriage, it'd be kind of weird to expect her to.
Actually, it may increase in value because I don't think the artist will have time to do much more painting.
Could you add a touch of puce?
I don't think so. You see, this artist knows what she likes, and in this painting, she didn't like puce.
But there's lots of puce in the house, and I already own the house.
Lady, you got a point.
I'll think it over. Fine.
Puce is French. The full name is couleur puce. Whoever gave it that name apparently didn't like the shade because it means flea-colored. Annie caught the remark about not having time to paint with a baby in the house, and she says, I'll find the time. And really, if it's something she is determined to do, she will. I was the same about writing. I found the time to do it even though I was a stay-home parent with a brand new baby. It can be done. The crux of this story is Annie is challenging one of their most sacred beliefs, the sanctity of marriage and family. Are they right? Is she right? Or is it maybe a question of personal choice? They have a small argument, and Sally admits she's jealous without a good reason. Once she gets it out of her system, she's good. It's amazing what talking things over with someone you trust can accomplish.
I wonder
wonder if you'd check these over for me.
Marion, this is the third time you've come in to have him check something.
Yeah.
What do you want me to check?
Anything. Isn't that the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen?
They check. And you're right.
He happens to be waiting for John.
Yes, sir.
Angela, would you ask Mr. Langworth to come in?
Yes, sir. Mr. Langworth, Mr. Burton will see you now.
Thank you.
Hi, Angela, see you. Sally, he's got an appointment.
Louder, Angela. She didn't hear you over the wind whistling past her ears.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
John, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Honey, I understand.
I don't know what...
John, have I intruded at an awkward moment?
No, it's quite all right. This is my wife, Sally. This is Foster Langworth, my wife, Sally.
How do you do?
If he's single, we need to take him to dinner and maybe invite Annie just for a fourth, yes? Guess what? He's single. And he and Annie are hitting it off beautifully.
Well, what looks good tonight?
John, I've got a marvelous answer for that.
I think he likes her a lot.
They're supposed to have an excellent vegetable plate.
Oh, try it.
John likes to eat meat. It gives him energy.
How's your energy, Foster?
Well, fine.
Do you like the theater?
Oh, sure.
Are there a lot of childhood diseases in your family, Foster?
Only among the children, John.
Questions about his parents and grandparents, that sort of thing. And Foster Langworth didn't get to where he is by missing things. It helps that they're being as subtle as a howitzer.
I am single, solvent, no communicable diseases, and only one slight flaw.
What?
I'd like to be in on the joke. Now, what are you guys up to?
What do we order?
Maybe we should let Foster know what's going on.
Why don't you tell Foster what's going on? John and I would like to go out and take a closer look at that view.
Never mind the view. Stay there. I want to hear how Annie lays out her plan.
Absolutely intriguing. I am in total sympathy. Then it's decided.
Well, I think we should talk about it.
But you've indicated on what you have in mind.
Oh, yes. Well, yes.
Fine. Okay. Let's see.
Since she's put so much logic, science, and research into this, he sees no reason to wait. Let's just get it done.
I'm booked Wednesday and Friday, but I could be available Thursday. And I suppose Saturday again, just to be on the safe side.
Oh, yeah.
Is that impersonal enough for you, Annie? You could just take him to a clinic and go for artificial insemination.
8 o'clock, then. Pardon the cliche, but your place or mine?
Oh, it's not important.
My place, 8 o'clock. Now, I'll make dinner reservations for, 8:45 or so?
Mr. Langworth.
That was my point, Anne. Tell me, do I seem like the kind of a man who could father a child and just walk away?
Yeah, she's been so focused on what she wants out of this, she lost sight of the fact that two people are involved. He thinks she's terrific and she'll make a near-perfect mother. But not this way.
That's just the sort of quality that would make you ideal.
Or enter into a relationship like that without wanting it to continue?
Any more than I could.
Exactly.
Any man that would, I wouldn't want. And any man I'd want.
You deserve to keep.
Well, Foster, you know what you've done.
Please. It's not what I've done. It's what I won't get to do that'll come back to haunt me.
You know, you could just use protection, but he's an honorable man. He doesn't use women.
Well, just because we've closed the cover on one book doesn't mean we've given up reading.
I believe I just said that. But again, he's not a womanizer. If he gets involved with her, he wants it to last. Sadly, he won't get the chance. He's a one-off character and won't be back. Sorry, Annie. Who knows what might have been?
I hope we haven't intruded at an awkward time.
No. The negotiations have been concluded.
Really? Congratulations, Annie.
Congratulations have been concluded, too.
What happened?
Well, After a lot of serious application and scientific consideration.
We had a talk.
And Foster was kind enough to let me talk myself out of it.
Science can't define love. Science can't define any emotion any more than it can define what consciousness is. Matters of emotion are beyond logic because at heart we humans aren't logical. We're feeling creatures. Science can't measure the devotion I have to my family. It's an internal thing, and science can't even sort out where it comes from. Annie was trying to be all logical and practical and treat it like getting a new product for the store. Making babies doesn't operate like that. If it really is that antiseptic, you're doing something wrong because, as Sally said,
Getting there's half the fun.
she's the sanctity, like emotion or